finally going to tackle that Nvidia app video with the game optimization settings. So I've been talking about it long enough and we're going to do it. I've decided I'm going to bite the bullet and we're going to see if the Nvidia app can optimize my copy of Batman Arkham City Game of the Year Edition. So with no further ado, let's jump over into the Nvidia app. Here we are. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to drop into the graphics tab and we are going to select Arkham City. Now I'm not going to optimize right now because we need it before and after, but at the moment the game is not optimized and these are the recommended settings for quality, well, close to quality. So I'm at the recommended resolution and the recommended display mode. That's fine. So the in-game settings currently, I've got ambient occlusion on, anti-aliasing disabled, the detail level is set to very high, DX11 features are off, the display mode is full screen, distortion yes, DX11 tessellation is off, dynamic shadows yes, hardware accelerated PhysX high, lens flares yes, light shafts yes, Nvidia multi-frame sampled anti-aliasing is off, the reflections are off, and the resolution is 1920 by 1080. And as you can see, the recommended settings, ambient occlusion is supposed to be on according to them, and they recommend FXAA high for anti-aliasing, the extreme detail level, MVSS and HBAO for the DX11 features. Everything else the same apart from tessellation needs to be high, and everything else stays the same. So we are going to launch into Arkham City. First of all, I'm going to have a look at the PC options because in the game there's no actual options for turning any of this on or off. In your own time. Okay, so let's have a look at the settings. Here in the PC settings section, we can adjust all the settings here. But actually in-game, there's no way of changing this. So as you can see, it's set to full screen, 60:9 aspect ratio, 1920 by 1080, no VSync, anti-aliasing is indeed off. 3D vision is disabled. This game works in stereoscopic 3D. I've got it turned on. I'm not going to use that. DX11 features are off. Tessellation is off. Very high detail level. Shadows, motion blur, distortion, lens flares, light shafts, reflections, and ambient occlusion all on. Hardware accelerated PhysX is set to high, and it says here GeForce GTX 50 and dedicated GTX 460 or better recommended. I have a 1650, so that should be fine. We're just going to go okay at that, and we're going to launch into the game. And while we're at it, we are going to enable our FPS counter and so on, so we can see how we're doing. No latency, utilization is below 50% on both devices. And the FPS is 26, 27, 41, 40, 52, 61, 62. That's about as high as I've been able to get it so far in the game. So we're going to go into the game. And we are going to go into the options and we are going to run the benchmark for Arkham City. This may take some time to load. Oh no, here we go. So As you can see, it's monitoring the minimum, maximum, and average FPS. These are the settings that were active where immediately after installing the game. So just let this run. Mute the audio. I don't really need the audio for this. So we'll let this do its run and see what the end results are. And then we'll have a quick jump into the actual game itself and see how that's looking. Now, I ran this benchmark earlier and I was getting a lot better maximum FPS, but it might be that I've got OBS running in the background to record this. So, minimum of 29, maximum of 93, average of 64. It's reporting 65 FPS at the moment through the Nvidia app. So, we'll come out of that and we'll just drop into the game proper. And in the load screen, I'm getting much higher FPS and low FPS. But anyhow, so now we're in the game proper, and we are getting 91 FPS at this point, with very little drop happening as I scan around. Let's see if taking on a fight, 112 FPS there. Let's see if taking on a fight will make this thing stutter. So we're over 100 FPS at the moment. There is a stutter. Still over 100 FPS doing this. There are a few stutters. I put it down to the game's coding. I had similar problems on the Xbox when I used to play this on the Xbox. So, at this moment in time, that's what we've got. So we are going to quit Arkham City. Back to the desktop. Go back into the Nvidia app. And we are going to click Optimize. And we are going to watch it do its thing. Now, it has apparently been optimized. And it has switched everything to those settings. There is an option to revert back. So if this does not seem any better, or it seems to have tanked the visuals, we can revert it back to the original settings. We'll go into the configure again. We'll go into the settings and we'll confirm that they've all been changed. Yep, that's all been changed. So we'll OK that and we will launch the game. And here's where we'll get to see if the optimization works. And we'll put our frame counter back on. Now, it's not done anything to improve the load screens for me. I'm not seeing any improvements so far. I mean, I'm getting 62 FPS at this screen, but I'm not seeing any fidelity improvements. So let's go in. Jump across to the settings and we'll run the benchmark again. Now we're looking for better than, I think it was 80, 88, something like that. Looking to see if there's any improvements there and see if we can see any visual improvements. Now the maximum's lower once again, and there was some stuttering there. And that doesn't look good. Now, according to this benchmark, we are doing a lot worse. The GPU utility has jumped up to 87% compared to the previous run, which I'm sure was lower. The performance in this benchmark is not as good as the previous benchmark, it has to be said. And there's another stutter. Let the benchmark run its course. I'm coming towards the end of it now. There was a stutter. That was a much more smooth pan. We are getting some very what's the word I'm looking for? Getting wavy lines in some grid patterns in the distance. Sort of like a heat haze pattern, but I'm sure we'll be fine. So we'll come out of the benchmark and we will drop into the game proper, and it should drop us into the same spot we were in last time. Do everything as close to identical as possible. And we'll see if there's some improvement on fidelity. Now my FPS is a little lower this time. I'm 74-75% in the exact same spot. Although I think the graphics do look marginally better. It would be nice to... Oh, that was a stuttering pan. 68-73. Step up to the edge here. And we'll wait for this guy to walk across, and we'll try and take him on in roughly the same place as we did last time and see if that gives us any noticeable change. So here we go. Where's he gone? We've lost him. Oh, there he is. So we'll see what happens here. There was no stuttering there, but we didn't do a glide kick. It seemed very stable. The graphics do seem a lot better this time round, even if the FPS is lower. So, does it work? It would appear it does. But does the optimization work? Yes, it does appear to have worked. I will record it with a camera and see if I'm getting any better. I think as well. But does it work? Yes, it works. My FPS did go down somewhat, but my graphical fidelity did increase. So these recommended settings from Nvidia do seem to work. So it is worth a try. I would do it on a per game basis rather than trying to do it with all of them at once and just letting the Nvidia app do it, because obviously certain games you may discover that the changes, you don't like it and you were quite happy beforehand, so you'll want to revert it. So do it game by game. I did notice a few comments, or at least a comment or two under my previous Nvidia video about the updates to the app, complaining that certain functionality seemed to be broken now. It is possible, if you're having problems, if certain features aren't working properly within the Nvidia app after the update, click this little speech bubble here and it will bring up a feedback form. You can rate the app, describe what's happening, select your feedback category and any related features, and submit your feedback for the broken feature that doesn't seem to want to work anymore. And I will be back at some point in the future with a new video, and I will see you in that one.